Comments on the first, second, and third news are as follows. Mighty Asia, the ancient state of white people on the Asian part of the continent. In ancient sources, it was also referred to as Great Tartaria. The Riparian Mountains, the Ural Mountains, the Korean Sea, Lake Baikal, the Cold Sea of Daria, the Arctic Ocean, the Himalaya Mountains, the Himalayas, the four great tribes of the Aesir, the Dorians, the Koreans, the Rossans, and the Svetorussians. The Aesir are the descendants of celestial gods living on Midgard. The land of Daria was located on a sunken continent in the Arctic Ocean. They began to live as tribes, that is, a community with a tribal structure. The three moons, Lelia, with an orbital period around Midgard of 7 days, Fata, with an orbital period of 13 days, and the moon, with an orbital period of 29.5 days. The tribes of the Aesir. This figurative runic phrase has long been associated with another concept, race. The blessed land of Asia, the territory of modern western and eastern Siberia, from the Riparian Mountains, the Urals, to the Korean Sea and Lake Baikal, three bright Yarila suns. Ancient tribal wisdom says that our sun is called the Three Bright Ones because it illuminates three worlds, Yaf, Naf, and Slav. It didn't want to go into rest, meaning the sun didn't set below the horizon, because in those times, Midgard still didn't have a tilt of the Earth's axis. Iri, the most serene. This figurative runic phrase merged into the symbolic abbreviation Irtish, which is the modern name for the Irtish River. Great Daria, a northern continent that sank in ancient times, also known today as Arctida, Hyperborea, Severia, and so on. Earthly Iri, the modern Irtish River, Svarga the Pure, the heavenly worlds of glory and truth. The Iri Mountains, the Mongolian Altai, where the Irtish River, the most serene, originates. Midgard is the ancient name for the planet Earth. For more details, see the Slavic Aryan Vedas. 2. They called it Belovodje. The name of the country comes from the name of the river Iri, which means white and pure water. Old Vítislav, one of the greatest storytellers and chroniclers, there is an ancient legend that the prophetic Bayan, in his youth, learned to compose hymns and legends based on the oldest Karatiyas, which were created and recorded by old Vseslav himself. Rasiks, meaning representatives of the great race, the ancient ancestors of the Russian people. The ancient faith of the forefathers, yngliizm. For more details, see the Slavic Aryan Vedas Book 3. Vindegard, Irian, an ancient city on the banks of the Irtish, discovered by archaeologists near the district center of Bolshaya Reshka in the Omsk region. Excavations began in 1998. Vindegard Iri was classified by archaeologists as a monument of proto-urban culture and received the unofficial modern name, New Archaeum. From all the earthly Ukrainian lands, meaning from all the regions and outskirts where the clans of the great race live. A sacred site is a settlement in particularly holy places. The Urman Skeets, taiga settlements, memorable times, meaning the times that are well and thoroughly remembered among the peoples. Yaroveliki Dashbog, the Golden Sun. In the hall of the race on the Svarog Circle, the modern name is Betlev. This golden sun is called Yaroveliki because it emits a brighter light compared to Yarila the sun and is larger in size and mass than our sun. Ingard Earth is the ancestral home of many Slavic Aryan clans. This golden sun is called Yaroveliki because it emits a brighter light compared to Yarila the sun and is larger in size and mass than our sun. Ingard Earth is the ancestral home of many Slavic Aryan clans, one of the lands, planets in the Dashbog sun system, where biological life exists, similar to life on Midgard Earth. The period of orbit around Dasbog Sun is 576 days. To the nearest Earths, meaning to the planets in this and the nearest Lion systems, where life exists and with which the inhabitants of Ingard Earth maintained friendly and brotherly relations. Bright worlds, meaning galaxies and star systems that are under the control and protection of bright divine forces. The source is the Harati of the world. The circle of years, meaning 16 years, how the will of God is fulfilled there, meaning the commandments and laws of the bright gods are carried out, leading the bright worlds to happiness, prosperity, and harmony. The moons of Ingard Earth in the Dashbog Sun system have two moons, the big moon and the small moon. The big moon has an orbital period around Ingard Earth of 36 days, while the small moon has 9 days. Tribal tradition. Ancient wisdom and rules that the clan adheres to, regardless of the worlds, galaxies, and lands or planets where the representatives of the ancient clan live. 2 circles of years to be with the parent. According to tribal tradition, a man should inherit tribal wisdom from his father and elders. He must seek his destiny, discovering his life's purpose to continue his spiritual journey. His companions, sharing a similar fate, will pursue their destiny with determination towards the goal set by fate. To seek your destiny means to discover the hidden purpose, which must be fulfilled to continue your spiritual journey. Companions with similar fate pursue their destiny towards fate's goal. No action begins without parental blessing, for without it, actions lack success and joy. Comrades, that is, having a similar destiny and a great goal, following their destiny with aspiration, in following the great goal predetermined by destiny. With parental blessing, not a single act, not a single path began without the blessing of the parents, for it was believed that without a blessing, any great deed or action would be lack of luck, which means they would not bring joy and peace to the soul. Sacred forest, that is, indeed the forest in which they truly grow. A hermitage sanctuary is a sacred settlement. He knew all the worlds and stars of the gods. That is, he knew and communicated with the gods, and also visited all the galaxies and star systems controlled by the union of light worlds. 9 eternal years, 2304 years. 1 eternal summer corresponds to 256 years, which is 16 cycles of years. The supreme will of Svarog, an unchangeable rule that the chosen one must strictly follow before the time comes to transition into a new life in a higher bright world. 8 long years and 3 months, 4,716 days. A year on Ingard Earth lasts 576 days. It consists of 16 months, each having 36 days. A week, just like on Ingard Earth, lasts 9 days. The meaning of the universe, that is, the essence of fulfilling heavenly laws, ascending along the golden path of spiritual development and perfection, distant lands, planets in far-off galaxies, located at the heavenly borders between known universes. The hour of reckoning, meaning in this context at the end of the training period. 8 paths, the shortest heavenly routes connecting 9 worlds and galaxies. These heavenly worlds resonate with the worlds of the gods, as told by the ancient Slavic Scandinavian tradition. Time is fleeting, meaning it passes quickly. These streams of fleeting time were used for quickly covering distances. In the vast expanse between 2 star systems, the peaceful path, meaning a specific, known, measured distance. Worlds of golden suns in one sleeve. Our galaxy has a swastika shape, with our Yarilo sun and rain god sun in one arm. Many lands near bright stars hold the planetary wisdom settlers from other worlds brought to Midgard Earth. white humanity's representatives were the first to settle and thrive on Midgard Earth. The boundary is an invisible line between galaxies controlled by light and dark forces. The representatives of white humanity who settled that world were the first to inhabit and thrive on Midgard Earth in ancient times. The boundary is an invisible line between galaxies that are under the control of light and dark forces, where once upon a time only a wondrous path passed. Originally, Midgard Earth, since the time of its settlement, was located at the crossroads of cosmic paths that connected inhabited lands in various worlds within star systems, where only representatives of the great race, that is, white humanity, lived. For 4 worlds, meaning for the representatives of earthly humanity, whose ancestors arrived on Midgard Earth, the planet Earth, from different celestial abodes of star systems, namely, the great race of whites, the great dragon, the yellows, the fire serpent, the reds, and many representatives from the abodes of the dark wasteland, the black. The degree of movement of our world, meaning a specific path along which our galaxy moves. His path often crosses the boundary. In certain cosmic cycles, one or the other arm of our galaxy crosses the boundary, that is, the invisible line between galaxies that are under the control of light and dark forces. White Maras, the great celestial chariots of the gods. For more details, see the Slavic Aryan Vedas, Book 1. From the darkness that has emerged, meaning from the star systems of dark worlds, undead and non-humans and all kinds of demons, creatures of various species from the star systems of dark worlds, and these star systems were called by the Slavs by one word, Hell, for development in Svarog to take place, meaning to adhere to the heavenly law of ascending along the golden path of spiritual development and perfection. From different abodes of the Svarog circle, meaning from star systems that are part of the so-called Slavic Aryan zodiac circle, which consists of 16 Slavic Aryan constellations. The bright gods, that is, the higher gods, the creator gods, the guardian gods, the governing gods, the protective gods, the guiding gods from the bright worlds of glory and truth, who govern the pure universe. For more details, see the Slavic Aryan Vedas, Book 3. In dark times, such time periods are also referred to as the night of Svarog in Slavic tradition, or Kali Yuga in Aryan or Indian tradition. In Asgard on Iria, that is, in the city of the gods on the Irtysh River, there is now a modern city called Omsk. For more details, see Slavic Aryan Vedas, Book 2, 2 nines of days, which means 18 days, 2 full Slavic Aryan weeks, consisting of 9 days each. The birth of an ancient race. In ancient times, the ancestors of many ancient tribes and races migrated from Ingard to Midgard. Over time, those living on Midgard became known as the Great Race, while those who remained on Ingard were called the Ancient Race. See Circles of Life. Approximately 864 years, because the circle of life consists of 144 years. Balance. In this context, these words mean harmony, the abodes of the Svarog circle. 16 constellations that make up the Svarog circle. Of the swastika, that is, the 4th abode, which corresponds to the constellation of the swan in Slavic tradition. 3 of the swastika, that is, the 12th abode, which corresponds to the constellation of the moose in Slavic tradition. So that no one secretly follows in their footsteps, that is, so that no one secretly follows in their footsteps. Krinica, a source, a spring. Pure light, Inglia, at the very border, right at the edge, at the frontier. The race of pure light, that is, white people, who preserve the sacred primordial fire. Inglia. Lelia, the smallest of the moons that used to belong to planet Earth. White people who keep the sacred primordial fire. Inglia. Lelia, the smallest of the moons that used to belong to planet Earth. Tark is the god Tarch Perunovich, known among the people as the giving god or the rain god. For more details, see the Slavo-Aryan Vedas, Book 3. In these cuts, in battles, fights, and conflicts, the fortress of Arkolna, perhaps this is referring to the now excavated Archaim in the southern Urals. Scythia, from the ancient Slavic word skit, the land of sacred settlements and cities. Later the name changed to Scythia. They created potwaries. They performed ancient rituals for healing wounds and stopping bleeding. DIY, the supreme priest, the Lord of Wisdom, the head of the Vasivo Council of Priests. In 2 weeks for 18 days. Voshin, the Slavic unit of length, corresponds to 71.12 centimeter. Fin, the Slavic unit of length corresponds to 17.78 centimeters. The Slavic unit of length corresponds to 17.78 centimeters. Coma berries. Raspberry, coma berries were named for bear's fondness. Raspberry juice, bear's blood, attracted ants to remove oak pests. In addition, raspberry juice was very often referred to in folk tradition as bear's blood. It was poured over the roots of the pear tree and the oak so that the ants, consuming the sweet raspberry juice, would eliminate all the pests that settled in the oak bark and roots. Half a measure is 53.34 centimeters. The Slavic unit of length corresponds to 106.68 centimeters. Half a measure corresponds to another Slavic measure of length, which was called a foot. Offerings were brought to the gods everywhere. Gifts were presented to all the light gods without exception. Sviatogor gave Radmir his kiss, meaning a spiritual guidance and paternal blessing, just as a father blesses his son for the protection of his ancient lineage and sacred relics, which were granted by the light gods or the wise ancestors. A good word for those going into battle, that is, Sviatogor gave Radmir his kiss, that is, spiritual guidance and paternal blessing, with which the father blesses his son to protect his ancient lineage and ancient shrines, which were granted by the bright gods or the wise ancestors. A good word for those going into battle, that is, gave his spiritual guidance and blessing to the knights before the battle with the enemy. A hidden stash, a concealed observation point set up, that is, built, created by the stone, that is, next to the dolmen. Dravidia. In ancient times, the Rasians referred to ancient India by the name of its most numerous people, the Dravidians. I was returning from the first Kari expedition to Dravidia, ancient India. This was in the summer of 2893 from the creation of the world in the Star Temple, which corresponds to 2615 BC, and the first Kari expedition to Dravidia began in the summer of 2817. 1615 BC, and the first Korean expedition of the Dravidians began, 2692, in the summer of 2817, 2692 BC. BC. Arimia is the land of dark-skinned people compared to the representatives of the race. The Rysichs meant ancient China. The Arims are the inhabitants of ancient Arimia. The Rysichs meant ancient China. The Arims are the inhabitants of ancient Arimia. Arim means dark-skinned. The gods used to visit. Ancient Chinese traditions and legends also tell of the visit of heavenly gods to China in ancient times. In the land of the Celestial Empire, this figurative name for their country is still used by the people of China. The ruler of ancient Arimia was called Ariman, just as the ruler of a kingdom was called a king and a principality was called a prince, who decided to gift himself to the creation of the race, meaning he decided to unleash a predatory war of conquest against the great race. This war is recounted in the ancient Avesta, the first message. This Avesta should not be presented with the distorted Thent Avesta as interpreted by Zarathustra, for he distorted the ancient message, turning the battle between the light-skinned Rasians and the dark-skinned Arims, which took place on Midgard, the planet Earth, into a celestial battle between light and darkness, where the god of light Ahura Mazda, Asur, defeats the dark god Ahriman, Ahriman. The wind of God is a figurative name for the wind of change, when the prosperity of a people shifts. From this figurative name came the ancient Chinese wisdom that the hardest time is the time of change. The great dragon is one of the figurative names for Arimia, ancient China. To this day, the Chinese people are called the people of the Great Dragon. In honor of the Great Dragon, grand celebrations are held. and figures and images of it are made from various bright materials. The great dragon was defeated at the battle, where it tried to fight against the great race. This event was immortalized in ancient history. The white rider, the god Vitis, striking with a spear, the sword of the dragon, the ancient serpent, was depicted in the frescoes and bas-reliefs of ancient temple sanctuaries, and various structures of the great race. Sculptures with this theme were carved from stone, cast from noble metals, and carved from various types of wood. This victory was captured in images, icons, and minted on coins. Currently, this scene is known as Saint George the Victorious, striking the dragon, the serpent, with a spear. The summer circle was being reborn, the day of the autumn equinox. On this day, the Rus, Slavs, and Aryans celebrate the new year. Ahriman is the ruler of Arimia, Asur, the Adarian Az, a god living on earth. Is a settled, blessed land. Asur is the title of the bright prince of the land of Sviatorasa. This later became the basis for the old Russian expression, I am the king, which meant A, as God, Ti. Is the land. Fur, created, recognized. Is, all. Im, the world, society. Tis, this is the dawn that brings light. That is, God on earth is recognized by all society as the bearer of light. Ahriman and Asur created a new world, meaning they made a peace treaty between the two warring powers, the great dragon Ahriman and the great race Asur. Since then, a calendar has been established from the creation of the world, marking the peace in the Star Temple. The name of the year, according to the Circle of the Numbers of God, on September 20, 2008, during the holiday of the New Year, the old believers of the Yngling family will celebrate the summer of 7517 since the occurrence of this event. Earlier, over 300 years ago, all Slavs celebrated this day of victory in the New Year, the day of the autumn equinox, until the usurper Emperor Peter I, from the Romanov family, abolished this holiday in the year 7208 and introduced the foreign Julian calendar, which prescribed celebrating the New Year in winter on January 1st, starting from the year 1700 AD, 1700 years from the birth of Christ. The Dravidians and Nagas were the inhabitants of ancient India when our ancestors bestowed upon them the Vedas. These sacred texts are now known as the Indian Vedas, although many Indian primary sources, such as the Puranas, the Mahabharata, and others, tell that the white teachers, rishis, who came from the northern high mountains of the Himalayas, brought them the Vedas and the new Vedic faith, Hinduism. They renounced indecent deeds, meaning the bloody human sacrifices to the goddess Kali and the black dragons. Having learned about the eternal heavenly laws, such as the law of karma, the laws of incarnation or reincarnation, and others, good deeds, meaning mutual assistance, creativity, and creation during the dark times, the night of Svarog in Slavic tradition, or Kali Yuga in the Varian or Indian tradition, according to divine laws, that is, the heavenly laws of the bright gods, they invaded the borders, violating the boundaries in Belovodi, near the Uhari Sea, by Lake Baikal. 7 circles, 112 warriors, 1 circle, 16 warriors. Krodi are funeral pyres on which the complete incineration of the deceased's bodies took place, so that their pure souls could easily rise to the pure Svarog with the smoke of the Krodi. Having completed the Trisna, that is, they performed the necessary burial rites according to the ancient law of the great race. 3 times 9 nights, 27 warriors, beyond the sea, lying in the east of Yarila, that is, east of Lake Baikal. They searched, discovered, found, did not see, did not notice, did not discover,